G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, yesterday I published a video titled Scott Morrison Outed as one of the six referred to the NACC by the Robo-Debt Royal Commission. And this morning I published an article on my website with further evidence, and that's what we're going to cover in this video. Now, make no mistake, a huge cover-up is in full progress. The Robo-Debt Royal Commission referred six people to the National Anti-Corruption Commission to be investigated for further investigation. But the National Anti-Corruption Commission took 11 months to say, hey, we're not going to do nothing. Now, that's the standard cover-up routine where they drag it out forever and then do nothing. The police do it, other government bodies do it. They could have made that decision within a couple of days or a week. They could have handed down that judgment, or not, it's not a judgment, handed down that decision they're going to do nothing last year, 11 months ago. So that in itself tells you cover-up's in progress in a big way. Now, first off, I'm going to show you three photographs because, as they say, picture's worth 1,000 words. And then I'll play you the same extract. It only goes for just over a minute, of the ABC's Philip Adams interviewing barrister Jeffrey Watson, SC, in relation to the NACC refusing to investigate the Robo-Debt 6. And then I'll cover the article with the new evidence in the article that I published this morning on my website. Now, the first picture is David Hurley, Governor-General David Hurley, receiving the Robo-Debt Royal Commission report from Commissioner Catherine Holmes last year, July 2023. So when there's a federal Royal Commission, they don't hand the report to the government, they hand it to the Governor-General. Now, the next picture is Governor-General David Hurley, his wife, and former Prime Minister Scott Morrison, when Scott Morrison was the Prime Minister. Now, both of them were involved in an $18 million fraud scam, which could have and should have been referred to the National Anti-Corruption Commission as well. So I wonder if that'll get swept under the carpet. Now, the final picture is from 2022, and you can see Paul Brereton on the far left. He's the Commissioner of the National Anti-Corruption Commission. In the middle is Governor-General David Hurley, and with him is Catherine Campbell, one of the Robo-Debt Royal Commission criminals, who was definitely referred to the National Anti-Corruption Commission. When they handed the report to the government, she was stood down within a couple of days. She resigned a day or two after. And when the National Anti-Corruption Commission decided not to investigate the Robo-Debt 6, it was reported that Paul Brereton was not the decision maker. He stood aside because of a personal interest he had, a conflict of interest. Well, they never said what it was. Well, it was definitely his relationship with Catherine Campbell and her husband as well. Don't forget, he's friends with the husband as well. And that's only from 2022, not long ago. They're good friends, a lot of them. And who's in all three pictures? David Hurley, Governor-General David Hurley. Now, I'll play the extract of the ABC's Philip Adams interviewing barrister Jeffrey Watson, SC.
So we know the sealed section in Catherine Holmes' report referred six people. Five of those are clearly public servants. That leaves one who was rumoured to be a former cabinet minister. Dear, oh dear.
Well, it's got to be. That's the only option. It's quite clear that there is at least one politician involved, somebody who's not subject to the Public Sector Act and somebody who is in a position to make the critical decisions. Can only be a politician.
Is this something that should have been taken into account by the NACC because the APSC can't?
Well, do you mind me saying? Of course, yes. You're completely right. This is why we had a NACC, which was so that we could expose this, not with that kind of retribution, revenge or punishment in mind, but you know what? Just to remind politicians that somebody is looking over their shoulder, will catch them out, and that they will be exposed if they do not do their job properly.
Rick Morton in the Saturday paper, quote, "The right thing now would be to open the sealed section of the Robo-Debt Royal Commission. The institutions in which the Commissioner put her faith have failed."
I couldn't agree more. I think now that decision lies with the Attorney-General.
Now, this morning on the 20th of June 2024, I published an article titled Scott Morrison Outed as one of the six referred to the NACC by Robo-Debt RC, the prima facie case. And that has further evidence in the video I published yesterday. And it starts off, Scott Morrison is one of the six people the Robo-Debt Royal Commission referred to the National Anti-Corruption Commission for further investigation for alleged criminal conduct regarding robo-debt. The ABC's Philip Adams interviewed barrister Jeffrey Watson, SE, who was also the director of the Centre for Public Integrity, on the 12th of June 2024 regarding the NACC's refusal to investigate the Robodebt 6. Two key elements of the Adams-Watson interview were that one of the six was a former Cabinet Minister and the Attorney-General, Mark Dreyfus, has the power to immediately release the details and names in the sealed section of the Robodebt Royal Commission report. I make out the prima facie case below, with Barrister Geoffrey Watson SC in the below video, pointing out based on the facts that one of the six people must be a former Cabinet Minister. And the evidence that points to the former Cabinet Minister referred to the NACC being former Prime Minister Scott Morrison. There were six former ministers who gave evidence at the Robodebt Royal Commission, which were Scott Morrison, Alan Tudge, Stuart Robb, Christian Porter, Maurice Payne and Malcolm Turnbull. Porter, Payne and Turnbull had the least to do with Robodebt and received the least amount of criticism from the Royal Commission, so they can be ruled out. Out of the three remaining of Morrison, Tudge and Robert, it was Scott Morrison who received the most criticism in the Royal Commission report to the government that was made public. It must also be noted that former coalition ministers Christian Porter, Alan Tudge and Stuart Robert ruled themselves out publicly from being referred to the NACC by the Robodebt Royal Commission. But while Scott Morrison had rejected the Robodebt Royal Commission's findings, he has refused to say whether or not he has been referred to the NACC by the Robodebt Royal Commission. Former Prime Minister was found to have given untrue evidence under oath at the Royal Commission into the Robodebt scheme, which means he can now add perjury to his long list of crimes. The Robodebt Royal Commission also found Scott Morrison failed to meet his ministerial responsibility to ensure that the Cabinet was properly informed about what the proposal actually entailed and to ensure that it was lawful. So you have Porter, Tudge and Robert ruling themselves out in relation to being one of the people referred to the National Anti-Corruption Commission. And Maurice Payne and Malcolm Turnbull, well, I've ruled them out because they had the least amount to do with it. That only leaves Scott Morrison, and Scott Morrison refused to rule himself out. He would know the other three had ruled themselves out publicly, and he could have done the same, but he refused to do so. The Royal Commission, before they hand down negative findings against someone, they send their findings to that particular person and say, we're going to hand down negative findings against you. Would you like to respond? So they give that person and their lawyers an opportunity to respond before they publish the findings against these people. So if Scott Morrison was referred to the NACC, he would know, and he's refused to publicly refute it, whereas the other three have, and the other two, Maurice Payne and Malcolm Turnbull, didn't need to because they didn't get much of a mention. They didn't have much to do with it. They had the least amount to do with it. No, but the other three, they went public and said, no, wasn't us. So that's a confirmation you need to confirm that it was Scott Morrison who's been referred to the National Anti-Corruption Commission. And that's a confirmation you need to know that Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is in effect running a protection racket for Scott Morrison, because Anthony Albanese's got a copy of the sealed section. He knows it's Scott Morrison and he can make it public at any time he wants. The Labor Party and the Liberal Party run a duopoly. They take turns running the federal government and they look after each other when it comes to the crunch. And they've done a dirty deal. Anthony Albanese did a dirty deal with Peter Dutton, not to have public hearings, to make sure all the corruption swept under the carpet. And that's what the National Anti-Corruption Commission has already been busted doing. They've only been up and running less than 12 months. And they've already been exposed sweeping corruption under the carpet at the highest level. Now, we know the Inspector for the National Anti-Corruption Commission, the Gail Furness, SC, she's investigating the complaints against the National Anti-Corruption Commission. So we'll see what happens there. Good chance she might try and sweep it under the carpet, but if she does, well, we'll keep on following up. Make sure you do your bit and share this video on social media. And Kangaroo Court of Australia is independent media. I publish a website and a YouTube channel. I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, so please support my Patreon account. I currently have 427 patrons, donating $2,442 a month. And I need to almost double that to become financially viable. And you can donate any amount, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50 a month, whatever suits your budget. It all helps you out in a big way. And the link for the Patreon account will be below this video on YouTube and also on my website. And please hit the like and subscribe button. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.